Behind the Shades.
I know many women who the spa, that is their definition of self-care. And one of the things I love, this is one of my friends, she says, I'm going to take a self-care day. I'm going to go see Rodrigo. Who's Rodrigo? Rodrigo is the masseuse at the spa that she goes to. So when you mention that it's an expensive habit, I could imagine, because when you look at the services provided to men in comparison to women, the price range is so vast, right? Like women will get, they'll get the facial, they get the pedicure, the manicure, they get the massage, all these things, and it can run you up couple hundred, maybe even $1,000.
Oh yeah.
And if that is your definition of self-care, how many women can truly afford that, right?
No. And maybe like a once a year, you go do something like that, or twice a year, great. But that's not going to keep your nervous system out of stress mode. That's going to be fun and great, but it's the little things you do for yourself every day. It's making sure you're getting restorative sleep. It's eating nourishing food. It's getting sunlight. It's making sure that you do things, even if it's 10 minutes, something that delights you, that brings you joy every single day. Because we all have, I love bucket analogies, we all have a stress bucket. And when that gets full, we lose our buffer. We lose the capacity to handle what life throws at us. So then any little thing, because life will happen, that is a guarantee, life will happen, right? And it's going to start throwing things at you. If you have no buffer built in, if your stress bucket is already full, then that's going to cause that stress bucket to overflow. And then all of a sudden you're yelling at the kids and you're irritable, and you're miserable, you're not functioning, or you just want to hide in your bedroom and not talk to anybody, right? But if you can empty out that stress, then when life throws something at you, you're going to be able to better handle that. You're not going to already be at capacity when that thing happens. And I bet anybody listening to this can name like 3 or 4 things that is triggering a stress response. So that could be a job or a relationship, the state of the world, COVID, whatever it is, just being over scheduled even can be a huge stressor. I know it can be one of mine. And so the other side of that, though, is our body responds to internal stressors just as much, if not more. Internal stressors could be blood sugar dysregulation, infections in your gut, leaky gut, hormone imbalance, adrenal issues, toxic burden, so heavy metals or mold toxicity, just different things. And so there's kind of 2 trains of thought as far as when I'm working with clients. We work on those external stressors. So anything mental, emotional, trauma, grief, anything like that, as well as those internal stressors. And if you kind of attack your stress bucket from both variables there, making sure you're balancing your blood sugar, making an anti-inflammatory diet, making sure you're drinking water. We're like plants that talk. We need water, we need sunlight, we need nutrients, right? Just think of yourself as this beautiful houseplant. You have to nourish yourself. And so it's not always simple. It's not always easy, but it doesn't have to be hard. Pick one thing to change. One, get really good at it. Then pick another thing to change. Get really good at that. And so on and so forth. Get 1% better every day. And before you know it, you have made massive changes. Just like that whole I don't have time for self-care. I don't have time. Well, how do you make time? Have better boundaries, right? If you're constantly solving everyone else's problems for them, you're not going to have time for yourself. So pick one person that you're constantly jumping in their backyard to solve their problems for, or pick one, environment, like, okay, work problems or home problems. Just again, pick one thing and start making those shifts. Just create that list, pick one thing off your list a week to work on.